Passing. Everything passes, even this feeling. Everything passes and I mourn it all. In the impermanence there is immanence, and when they pass, all things, all loves, all lives, I mourn them all and the Godhead in them. I mourn backwards through time all the things I remember and all I don't, the whistle lollipops on which I, a child, would suck with a relish I cannot recapture, the enormous trees up which I shinnied, agile as a monkey or an imp in childhood, the green tamarinds, sorry about that, the green tamarinds I ate, sour and succulent, hanging off branches in Pune's woods, so mysterious, so alluring to a child who never wanted to read or write, just play and live in make-believe all day long. I mourn backwards through time the passing of my school days, things that I valued my life so little that I cannot remember much of it, only the sensory world in which I swam, and those things that I do remember fill me with a spiky regret. Sharp winter air in Pune when I was 7, the slipping of sunlight and rain over polished mango leaves, the songs on All India Radio, the world of books into which I plunged after my first reluctance and rejection of them, my mother's fragrant foods which were a fact of life, like love or joy or goats on the street or bird song or jasmine flowers at my window. I mourn backwards through time, but these days I also mourn these, the stores that closed down, billboards which used to stare at me while I paid them no heed, now gone, given way to unbearable gloss. The decor and banks I used to visit, now so clinical and perfect, like mannequins with no skin pores. I mourned lost bookstores in Arlington and Porter Square, or Harvard Square, or Davis Square, or Medford Square. I mourned the missing street performers, jugglers and puppeteers, storytellers and singers. We're all gone now. I mourn the minutes, hours, days, years of my life, the lives of those I love, the lives of those whom I'm yet to meet, the lives of all the creatures vanishing before I shall ever meet them. Everything passes through me and through you, and somewhere we'll meet, you and I, you with your memories, I with mine, and we will let them flow through us and beyond until all fades away.
I'm Bill Yarrow. I'm going to read a poem from my chapbook that was published by Gloria. It's called Incompetent Translations and Inept Haiku, and it came out in 2013. Gloria, congratulations on 20 years of Červená Barva Press. That's an amazing accomplishment, and I am proud to be a small part of it. The poem I'm going to read is one of the incompetent translations. This is a translation of El Destechado by Gerard de Nerval, but it is an incompetent translation. I am twilight's pissoir, the orphan's inclination. My star is dead, my constellation crushed. The Prince of Aquitaine has fallen and cannot rise. I am the shadow of waxwing slain. In the tomb, in the outre tombe, I see the Sea of Capri, the Hearse of Merci, La Lune des Pantoum, La Place du Caprice. Désolé, désolé, where the vinegar and the wine are one. I am naked and red, chérie. Give me back my color and my clothes. Give me back my singularity, my tristesse, my photo ID. She sits in the gondola and burnishes her arms. She puts the piquant radish in her mouth. She takes a loofah and wipes the rainbow from her neck. Thank you.
I have 2 books that were published years ago by Červená Barva Press, and one being Of All the Meals I Had Before, poems about food and eating. There. Bill did a nice artwork. So I'll use, I'll read one in here. Last Night at the Worst House, which is a long defunct eatery in Harvard Square that I used to frequent. How I miss that hush from the square. The dark oasis contemplating my beer as things came to a head. The ancient waitress, their surliness and art, bark the orders through the swing of doors. And at the bar, scholars of the academy and everyday scholars of life share the same expanse of polished wood. I used to strain to hear the bits of wisdom of old man Cardillo spit from his cigar-studded mouth. The rancorous jokes the cops told huddled around him in an enigmatic cabal. And now, at the same corner, pretty boys on posters smile with hardened torsos. And I am swept away to wherever the crowd goes. And my first full-length collection was published back in, I think it was 2000. No, somewhere around there. The Man in the Booth in a Midtown Tunnel. And Bill did another excellent job of superimposing me into the booth in the Midtown Tunnel when they had a booth and a man would sit in the Midtown Tunnel. Horrible job. So here it is, The Man in the Booth in the Midtown Tunnel. The cars stream under a frozen catatonic East River, and the man in the booth paces the perimeter of his cage. He fumes with the fumes and feels the river's pressure above his head, and he has lost his face long ago in a blue uniform. And the sun and the fresh air merely a hint. And we are faceless in a blur behind thick plates of light bleached glass. And we will all remain ignorant of each other. And there is no light at the end of the Midtown Tunnel. Thank you.
Hi, this is Mark Fleckenstein. I was fortunate to have my book published by Gloria's Press in 2020. The name of the book is A Name for Everything. And the poem I'm going to read today is Cartography. The city was then 3 hands, one missing 2 fingers, one drowning in fresh buttons of dirt, one simply not there. Unable to do anything else with the stars they'd invented, someone tossed them hard against the night sky. It was a pale year of days at home, orange cats, and dreams kept low to the ground when we met. Her face, violent and perfect in any light, was everywhere. Any window. I was nobody to stare at. One slash and burn afternoon, we stripped to make love and found only light bulb glass. Names fat with dust, chatting without regret about the weather and the impossibility of money. I've lived with my children in a brick house, but I've neither. The houses invite no one, and no one is home. Soon the days will slip back around my fingers. The doors will open to any offer, and there she'll be. This is a map of everywhere we went.
Denise Provost. I was delighted that Gloria published my book, City of Stories, in 2021. I'm going to read a poem called Requiem for a Home. I never met those folks across the way. I'd give a friendly wave, but nothing more, because I thought they simply wouldn't stay, just move on, as neighbors have before. You know how stories travel word of mouth? It was discouraging to hear the news that their landlord's mortgage was foreclosed, tenants evicted, though they wouldn't choose to leave so soon. They're packing what they own while listening to music. Don't you hear a great soprano soaring voice that blooms from out their open windows like a prayer that they be spared from this cascade of woe? I wonder if they have a place to go. Thanks.
I'm Susan Donnelly, and this book, I can't see it myself because I'm not seeing myself. This book is called The Path of Thunder, and it was published in 2017 by Gloria's Press. And thank you for this wonderful project, Gloria. I think it'll be good. The book was explained on the back in one sentence or phrase. One writer's experiences finding a path in racially divided America. And the title comes from a phrase in one of my favorite American poems, County Cullen's poem Tableau. And this is the phrase, that lightning brilliant as a sword should blaze the path of thunder. And the path I find as an American in this situation is when what is going on in the world, in our country, hits me personally, I try my best to write it honestly about my own feelings about these issues we face. But in having said that kind of fancy introduction, the poem is called For Trayvon Martin. I hope it speaks for itself. For Trayvon Martin. Is that boy in the hooded sweatshirt my grandson, who has taken a wrong turn in a strange neighborhood and tries to find his way out through streets like a maze? Or has he, my grandson, loped in here just to see, like a kid in the woods? I hold him too tight when we meet, until I remember to let him go. But is it he who is startled from his thick and absorbing boy dreams by awareness that someone is following? He who is changed all in sunshine from himself to prey. Yes, it is he who cries out, my grandson, sweet rasp of new beard on his cheek, whom I would die to save.
Also like to say thank you, Gloria, for hosting this. I think it's a really wonderful idea and a fantastic way to celebrate your 20 years. And I was thinking back on it. I'd known you actually almost for all 20 of those years. I think we met in 2010, which I guess I didn't realize how young the press was when we first met. And so yeah, it's just wild to sort of think about the longevity of the press and everything that you've done. So thank you. And I would like to, I'm going to blur my screen a little bit here just so you can see the cover. So I'll be reading from World Less Perfect for Dying In, published by Červená Barva. And art is by local artist Risa Blattman, which is also something that I feel quite blessed to have. So the poem that I'm going to read is titled Schuster. And funny thing, I used to introduce this poem by saying, I've never had a pet, and now I have two. So I can't say that anymore to introduce this poem. All right, so Schuster. One summer, the neighbors directly behind my grandparents' house brought home a rooster. My two brothers and I named him Schuster. We spent the whole season strutting and clucking back and forth along the chain-link fence that divided the lots into yards. In return, Schuster would strum the fence with his sharp beak and bark us back into the middle of the lawn. One day, after lunch, Schuster did not come no matter which tone we called in or how hard we rattled the fence. The seed we scattered just before going in, still spotting the dry Tennessee soil. Later that night, dining with the neighbors, we found him. Only we felt we knew him too well, and after the table was cleared, we slipped the bones into a plastic bag and brought them out into the dark. Kneeling beside the fence, in the faint glow of the porch light that barely reached this part of the yard, we three dug into the ground with my grandfather's trowel to a depth we felt would keep our friend safe from more harm. We patted the earth down with our feet and sprinkled loose dirt over the tiny mound. Not to hide what we had done, but because we felt revealed, this the first lesson in who we would make ourselves available for, so much becoming us from so little. We bowed our heads, each offering his own prayer. Then we just walked away, each to his own room, near but not too near, satellites waiting for sleep.
Congratulations on 20 years, Gloria. I'm Larissa Shmailo, and I'm going to read from two books, A Cure for Suicide, a chapbook published by Červená Barva Press in 2006, and a small section of my translation of Victory Over the Sun. This poem from A Cure for Suicide is called Personal. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what makes you fickle. I want to know what makes you stick. Tell me, which ion propels you, which soothsayer spells you, which folk singer trills you, which hard work distills you, which downward dog twists you, which protest resists you, which neural net fires you, which siren desires you, which villanelle sings you, which jailbreaker springs you, which Uncle Sam wants you, which calculus daunts you, which lullaby lulls you, which confidence gulls you, which apple you'll bite from, hither you'll welcome. What makes me? Forget the right answers, consult necromancers, allow the forbidden, ignore the guilt-ridden, unlearn all the learning, embrace this new burning to know what makes you tick. And this is from my translation of Victory Over the Sun. How extraordinary life without the past is, dangerous but without penitence and memories. Forgotten are the mistakes and miscarriages that tediously squeak in the ear today. You are like a clean mirror or a rich reservoir in whose clean grotto carefree little goldfish flick their tails like Turks giving thanks. Thank you.
So congratulations to the press for 20 wonderful years. Amazing work and beautiful poetry books. I am honored to have had two books published by Červená Barva Press. One is a chapbook called The Sound of Angels. If you can see it. I'm going to read one poem from this book called Disappearing. Disappearing. When she enters, thin as an eggshell, only dust is disturbed, floating on a slim raft of sunlight. I knock on her hard shell, searching for light in the dark hollows of her bones. Even before the fall, she floated above the earth, watching herself disappear, like a single sliver of moon slung across the night sky. Her pulse is slowing down. Cold begins to settle, making a home in her porous bones, in her empty house. And I'm going to read a poem from my recently published full-length book, In the Absence of Birds. Thank you for that, Gloria. It's called A Mother's Journey. A Mother's Journey. You were nub of heart, essence of the word. I carried you deep within me, your slender lungs reaching for air, each glimmering line linking bone to tendon, action to response, and I always on my journey. In the way of silkworms, I wove silken thread, the warp and weft, morning and night, substance from inchoate being, and carried you, a slim new reed, raw and tender, to wave and bend in wind, but never wilt. I gave what I found, nurtured what needed me. You were nub of heart, essence of the word. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria, for inviting me to be part of this and for all the wonderful things you do with Červená Barva Press. I'm going to read a poem from my chapbook, Investigations, Mystery of the Girl Sleuth, with a beautiful cover by Bill. To Nancy Drew on her 50th birthday. What secret does the old clock hold now? Where does the hidden staircase lead? It's time to mount the 99 steps, accept the secret in the old attic, the clues that have been there all along in your diary, in the old album, in the velvet mask you struggle to remove. You need to answer the invitation to the Golden Pavilion. Read the mysterious letter of your own blood. Lean against the crumbling wall and listen to the mystery of the tolling bell. Although you wish you'd never started on this quest for the missing map, now you have it in your hand. You must follow it to the message in the hollow oak, across the haunted bridge, to face the wooden lady and the statue whispering what you do not want to hear.